Back in Gary, police quickly had a suspect.
A 31-year-old man has been charged in Crown Point, Indiana, with the weekend murder of baseball star Lyman Bostock.
Who was arrested?
I can't even call his name now. I just threw it out of my mind.
Leonard Smith.
Leonard Smith. I hate to hear that name called.
Police believe Smith was aiming at his estranged wife when he allegedly shot Bostock in Gary, Indiana, Saturday night.
The suspect had been in trouble with the law before. His wife Barbara had filed for divorce and received a temporary restraining order against him just 4 days before the shooting. That Saturday night at the intersection of 5th and Jackson, from his car, Smith fired into the back seat of Turner's car, where his wife was sitting. He killed the person sitting beside her, Lyman Bostock. Barbara Smith told police with certainty the killer was her husband, Leonard Smith. Just hours later, police came to this small apartment house in Gary where Smith lived and arrested him.
When he came to the police station that night, only thing he said was all about that bitch. And that was it.
He was charged with murder and held here without bond in the Lake County Jail. He faced up to 60 years in prison.
This should have been an open and shut case. That's what it should have been, and that's how we as prosecutors looked at it.
Jack Crawford prosecuted the case against Smith, but in court the defendant didn't plead innocent or guilty to the killing. Instead, his lawyer, Nick Theros, took a different approach.
It's not a defense of whodunit. As we know, everybody knew that Leonard did it. The only option that I recognized at the time was to file a defense of insanity.
Pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, with the defense that his wife had driven him beyond the mental breaking point, Smith went on trial here in 1979.
The state psychiatrist said that Leonard Smith was completely sane the night he killed Lyman Bostock, that he didn't have a mental disease or defect, and certainly he understood the difference between right or wrong.
The jury deliberated for 5 hours and then rendered its verdict. Leonard Smith was judged insane and therefore not guilty.
He got away with murder. Leonard Smith got away with murder. He did it legally through the system as it existed, but that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. He got away with murder.
Oh. Jury said no.
Smith was sent to Logansport State Mental Hospital. 6 months later, doctors judged him sane, and the court ordered him released. Leonard Smith climbed into the back seat of a car and was driven away, a free man.
We did not find Mr. Smith mentally ill, and by law, we may not keep as a patient someone who is not mentally ill.
When Leonard Smith left the state mental hospital that day, he left the national news and headlines behind. He disappeared from the public eye.
I didn't believe that he was insane. I never have, and I never will, and I still today don't believe that he was insane.
The last 3 decades have not been kind to Gary, Indiana. Poverty, decay, and blight have drained and depleted the city. There has been one constant here, though. At the same address, in the same building where he was arrested 30 years ago, Leonard Smith still lives. 6 blocks down the same street where he shot and killed Lyman Bostock. And 30 years later, that's where we found him.
Excuse me. Leonard?
Yes.
I'm Tom Rinaldi.
What's up?
I'm a reporter with ESPN, Leonard.
Free for the last 28 years, Smith has never spoken publicly about killing Lyman Bostock.
I don't want to talk to you. I have no comment. Thank you. Goodbye.
Leonard.
Goodbye.
Leonard, we talked to your attorney. I know he reached out to see if...
Same thing English?
If you...
Do you understand English?
I do. Let me just...
Goodbye. I'm through with you.
Let me just say...
No, I don't want to hear it. Goodbye. Goodbye. Do you understand English? You know what goodbye means? Go away.
Aided by crutches, Smith was unwilling to explore the past throughout our encounter.
Can I say anything, Leonard, to have you tell me about what happened that night or change your mind at all? About how you feel about what happened?
"61 years old now, struggling to reach his own front door. Leonard Smith has never been arrested for another crime, but what guilt he feels, what weight he bears, remains known by him alone.
Whatever happens to people's lives, they have to live with themselves. And sometimes that's tougher than any kind of punishment that you can ever do out through a court system.
I think if you were to ask him today, do you have any regrets about what occurred? I don't know that he would say that he was sorry for what happened. I don't know.
Lyman Bostock has now been gone for longer than he was here. But for many, he remains a man forever to be remembered, a spirit forever to be missed.
One thing I would like to say, I wish he was still around. That's all I have to say.